Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live. I'm Akiko Fujita along with Zach Guzman on this Friday the 13th. Let's do a quick check of the market right now. We are seeing the Dow up 285 points, the NASDAQ up 71, and the S&P 500 up 31. All major sectors in the S&P 500 firmly in the green, with energy leading the way. Disney, a big focus of the market today as the company sees a big surge in subscriber growth. Losses, though, mounting for the company as coronavirus keeps their theme parks closed. All of this coming, of course, as we continue to track the very latest on those COVID-19 cases sweeping across the country. Case count surpassing 160,000 in one day for the first time. Hospitalization also setting a new record for a third straight day. We're talking about more than 67,000 patients hospitalized. Meantime, here in New York City today, we did get an update from the mayor, Bill de Blasio, a short time ago, saying that he is now looking to close public schools starting on Monday. To take a look at what is playing out here across the country, let's bring in Anjalee Khemlani, who's been tracking the very latest. And Anjalee, this announcement from New York City, just the very latest in cities across the country that have really started to reimpose some of these restrictions we saw early on in the pandemic.
That's correct, Akiko. And what we're seeing is actually the same patchwork type of strategies being put in place where, in states where you anticipate there will be pushback for lockdowns and where the strategy is not favored for a stricter guideline, there are things like curfews being put in place. That seems to be the sort of in-between that's being adopted. So while many states have adopted mask rules and closing bars, there are other things like keeping restaurants open, but having curfews on how long they can stay open. Schools, as well as with New York City, are sort of considering and weighing their options. Gyms as well are on the list of places that are going to be facing curfews. And this all comes on the heels of some studies recently that have shown that, these are the places where the spread is occurring. The reason why the rate of infection is so high across the country comes from these sort of smaller indoor places where people frequently are indoor for a long period of time, as well as small home gatherings. We know the CDC recently released a report on that as well. And so in some places, like, for example, Chicago recently announced a lockdown advisory calling for cancellation of Thanksgiving celebrations, again, to that point of small gatherings indoors that should not take place in order to avoid the spread, where we're seeing these cases across the country continue to rise, to your point of the total cases, but also looking at the positivity rate. So of the tests coming back, how many of those are positive? In a state like South Dakota, for example, 50% positivity, and that's higher than what we saw in New York earlier in the pandemic. So really some concerning numbers across the country right now.
All right, Anjalee, you're going to continue to track that for us.